Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop members show. This is me, Gav. That is Matt. This is the fourth transfer show of January 2024. We're probably going to try to do 1/2 of these a week. The chances are one of them will definitely be a member show. One of them may be on the free feed, but we'll see how it goes. Listen, as it is, there's not an awful lot going on, but we're here to discuss what may go on and little bits with regards to Liverpool players coming back from loan and different things. So, yeah, stick with us. If you're in here, hit the like button because then we know many people have been in here to watch us, and that's good. Richard is in, Megan is in, Dan is in, Anthony Boylan is in. A few more pop in now as the chat catches up with us. So, Matt, how are you? It's the first time I've spoken to you since before Christmas. So I'm going to ask the question, did you have a good Christmas and New Year? Do you celebrate Christmas? I don't know. You could be of religious, you could be religious in a different way, and you think Christmas is shy.
Y- Yeah, no, that's not the case. But I don't have kids, so you always lose that little bit when you don't have little kids around because Christmas is mostly for the kids, I'd say. But I got to go home. My wife and I got to go back to the prairies to visit my family. So I ate like an absolute pig and drank far too much for a full week, and it was lovely.
Yeah, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. Let me see. Rory's joined
Yeah.
us. Paul has joined us. Loads of people in. So where to start? Let's start with Liverpool. Um, and I'm not going to go on the links that are there with regards to players coming in. We may have a chat about who we think what we think we should do and stuff like that. But just on the loan stuff, Carvalho's come back from Leipzig. You have Reece Williams coming back from Aberdeen. You have Owen Beck coming back from, I want to say, Dundee, but he's definitely in Scotland.
Correct.
And you also have Nat Phillips coming back from Scotland and Celtic. So you've them four players coming back from loan. There's different kind of circumstances around them and different kind of outlooks, I think, from a lot of people. But let's start with Nat Phillips. He's gone to Celtic. I think he went. I think he did go on like a 4 month loan, and Celtic probably would have looked to extend that. But I think his time at Celtic has been horrendous. And any time I've seen him play for Celtic, he's looked horrendous. He's come back, and there's a few whispers today that Reece Williams might be looking to be sent back out on loan, but Nat Phillips may stay as emergency cover. That sends shivers down my spine, to be quite honest with you, Matt. Where are you on these two? Take the two of them. Take Williams and take Phillips.
Yeah, I mean, Reese Williams, I probably couldn't have told you before yesterday where he was currently on loan. Just he's completely fallen off the radar, especially so with how Kwanzaa's just exploded onto the scene and is that next player to come out of the academy for the defense. So I couldn't tell you whether his loan went good or poorly. I'm guessing it went poorly because he's back and it I can't see us having much use for him. I mean, Nat Phillips, you hear a little bit coming out. He finally gets a start for Celtic and immediately puts the ball through the back of his own net. So not great for him either. But they just they just don't work in the team. The way the team is set up, the high line that we need to play with, especially when we're pressing. Like if you looked at how we pressed against Newcastle for the entire game, that type of offensive pressing where you've got four, five, six players pressing the ball requires your defenders to be at the halfway line. And if they're going to play on the halfway line, they have to have recovery pace, like as Ange showed when they went down their two men, and he still tried persisting with Hoiberg and Ben Davies playing a high line on the halfway line. Like it doesn't work. I would, just for the pure hilarity of it, love to see the three defenders that returned from their loan spells start against Arsenal on the weekend. I think a back line of Owen Beck, Nat Phillips, Reese Williams, and Connor Bradley at right back would just be hilarious. But I think even that's a bridge too far. It's probably time for both of them to go. I doubt there'll be any movement for them in January, especially because neither of them shined in their loan spells at the start of the season. So it'll be one of those. I mean, Reese will still qualify to play with the unders, so he can go back down there, maybe, put himself in the shop window a little bit. And Nat Phillips, I feel, will stay until the end of his contract because, like I said about Oxlade Chamberlain in years past, it's the last good contract he's going to get. And he's going to see out every single day of that contract and collect all that money. And
Yeah, look, Richard says that makes 100% sense as emergency centre back cover. Why the shivers? He's done the job before. He's done the job before. I'll give you that. He's done the job before in when Liverpool have been in a certain predicament and have had to tailor the way they play for the likes of Nat Phillips and Reece Williams playing. And they done admirably. I think that's, did I get that out right? Admirably. Yeah, there you go. But not in today's game. It simply won't work. You know, Liverpool are gone back to the high line. They're gone back to a lot of pressing from the front. They're pushing up the pitch. And maybe not so much Nat Phillips, but Reece Williams would be absolutely lost in this because he hasn't got a turn of pace. He went to Aberdeen at the start of the season. I done a show on one of the Aberdeen podcasts who asked me about him. It might have been Kev that done it. Actually, I was asked to do it. Kev done it, and he was talking about him, and he was saying, "Look, he's a good defender when he has to defend, you know. But you'd be worried about turning the other way and that bit of pace, you know, the sort of way. Going back out on loan for Reece Williams, it just feels like, you know, they're just letting this run out, and he'll end up going, you know." I can't see a future for Reece Williams at Liverpool. Not the way we play. I think with the way Quanta's come through, I think he's just a different machine to Reece Williams. He's as big as him. He's broader than him. He's stronger than him. He's quicker than him. He's probably a better footballer than him. I think Quanta's just blown the both of these fellas out of the water, really. And people will argue that, you know, Matip down injured, you know, who have we got left? I don't think Matip being down injured makes a case for Reece Williams and Nat Phillips to be the replacement for Matip in the squad. I just don't think it does. I think if you have to put either of them on that pitch at any stage, and whether that's an FA Cup or Arsenal or a league game because something completely mad has gone on, you're definitely going to have to tailor the way you play to these guys. You can't play them high up the pitch. You simply can't. But look, they're both back. I don't know if they run out that contract with Nat Phillips, but I can't see the sense in him being there as emergency cover, because it means then that if an emergency happens, he has to play. And if Liverpool are going for a league title, and you're telling me that Nat Phillips is starting to centre half in simply the way we play, I think we're in all sorts of trouble. You know what I mean? And I think it probably showed at Celtic as well, because Celtic have an awful lot of the ball an awful lot of the time and play a high line because of that. And I think he got exposed. I really think he really did get exposed. Let me read some out. Let me read some bits out. Let me see. Kev did say all three who were recalled didn't do themselves any favours whatsoever. Ashley says Williams only played 90 minutes this season, I think, for Aberdeen. Yeah, he hasn't. It didn't. I've checked on him a few times and I've seen him on the bench. Haven't seen him playing. Chris Brack reckons Owen Beck is going to be used in January to cover left back, and will then go back to Dundee before end of window. Dundee seem to be gutted to lose him. Yeah, he seems to be absolutely flying. Someone's saying he's possibly being the best left back in the Scottish Premiership this season. And people will say, the Scottish Premiership. You know, the left back at Celtic is quite good. Rangers have a decent left back, you know, the sort of way. So for this fella to be there and people making that shout about him, it's no harm to him. Anthony says if you can't start for Aberdeen, you've got absolutely no chance at Liverpool. When Nat and Reece were there, they had Fabinho and Henderson protecting the back fours. Kev, I'm not saying that our players can't protect them. It's just a style of play. We seem to sit in ourselves and play a slightly different way, and I don't want us to do that. I want us to go out and keep doing what we're doing. Anthony says Quanta is showing the level required, and it's no shame on Phillips or Williams. It's just how it is. Let me see. Christmas Eve says, evening lads, Carl here. Daughter's account, hence Christmas Eve. Carl, I think I know who that is. Carl, could you not just go onto YouTube and make your own account? All it needs is an email address, seriously. Let me see. So, look, I think Reece Williams might go out on loan, but I think that feels to me as it's one running out. You might get a nominal fee somewhere from. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And with Phillips,
championship at best, but it looks like his future probably is like League One level, where, you know, he can go down to League One, let's say, and impress and then try to rebound his career from there. But not much longer that he'll be our concern. Owen Beck for me is the one, though, that's the talking point, because I agree with what Bracken said. I would say it's almost certain that he starts on the weekend. like what
Okay.
we did with Phillips a couple years ago when we recalled him from, I think he was at
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart. Yeah, played him against Everton and then put him back on the plane. Like,
Yeah.
you just brought a day bag sort of thing. I could see us doing that with Owen Beck, because when somebody posted in the Telegram chat about the tweet announcing his recall, and scrolling through the comments, and it was, yeah, like, fuck Liverpool for taking this player from us, and what a player he's been for us, were all the comments. Like, there was nobody seemed like happy to see the backside of him or had anything bad to say about him. Like, yeah, best left back in the league, young player of the year. If you would have seen the season out with Dundee, like, that's the level that their fans were talking about him, and I'm going to
Yeah.
believe them more because I couldn't find Dundee on a map. So, but I can see us doing that because we have to protect Joe Gomez.
Yeah.
It's the
That
most
and
imperative thing in January until Andy Robertson's back. It is of the utmost importance that we protect Joe Gomez.
yeah, Thor says Nat Phillips is 27 in March. Both he and Williams need to move on for their own careers. I fully agree. And I think, you know, like at the start of the season, you probably would have went, could you put Phillips in there as your fifth choice centre back maybe? And you know, it's kind of a break glass kind of thing. But not the way Liverpool are playing. If Liverpool were coming out and saying, listen, we're going to be more pragmatic, we're going to make sure we protect our goal an awful lot more, and we're going to play as a counter-attacking side a little bit more in certain games, I go, yeah, there's an argument there, but just not the way we're playing. Um, uh, just not the way we're playing. I just don't see how it works. But just on Owen Beck, you know, you're saying it's imperative that we protect Joe Gomez. I think you're absolutely spot on. You know, Simicast looks like he could be out for a considerable amount of time. Andy Robertson, according to Klopp, is, you know, 4 weeks probably still away from where. That's a guess from me, but just judging on the words he says, it could be 3 or 4 weeks the way he comes back. Jerry says the Dundee tribute to Beck was very classy, to be fair. I'm going to go back to something else Klopp said, though, because Klopp said after the Matip injury, and I'm going to go into the whole Matip situation in a minute, but he said after the Matip injury, we won't look to make a signing at the back unless another injury happens. And then the injury happens to Simicast, and you're like, are you going to make one now? And people are like, well, he'll get away with Gomez for a while, and then Robertson will be back. But do you think the actual return of Owen Beck just cancels out that comment he's made a couple of weeks ago?
Depends on Robertson's return. If Robertson is maybe ahead of the schedule as we've been led to believe it, then perhaps you can get away with that, because Joe Gomez has deputized incredibly well at left back. Just so much better than I was even hoping that he
Started his
would. And
Liverpool career at left back, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Fabinho also used to play right back, and then you look at the numbers.
No,
And
I'm
it's
just
like, oh, it
saying.
was
I'm just saying.
four times 8 years
He's
ago.
been good at left back, but it's not unnatural to him, is what I'm trying to say. He's done it before.
Yeah. So if the prognosis on Robertson coming back is good, and the medical team has assured the coaches that he's not at high risk of re-injury, which is something that happens with dislocated shoulders, is once it starts popping out, it just pops out constantly. I'm okay with us getting through, because we've got the FA Cup, maybe another FA Cup game if we get through Saturday. I'm very interested to see that team. The 2 semifinals, and then I think 2-3 league games, and then that's about when Robertson should be back. If we can use Owen Beck for 2 or 3 of those matches, the cup matches, maybe one of the semifinals, play him in the FA Cup, use Gomez in the other ones, maybe bring him off of the bench in a Premier League game or something like that, just to give Gomez a blow. Hopefully we're, comfortable with 75 minutes gone, and we can take Gomez off, just rest him up that 15, 20, 25 minutes at the end of a match, bring back on. And then at the end of the month, Robertson's good to go, and you send him back out again. And in terms of long-term replacement, I mean, I think we do need to think about the long-term replacement at left back, not just Andy Robertson, because I'd like to think Robbo could get at least another couple years at a good level, if not his absolute peak level. But I think it's time we move on from Simicast as our backup. Simicast is 27. It's not like Simicast has his prime years ahead of him. Like, I would imagine that Costa Simicast wants more football, more regular football, the chance to be the number one guy. So I think that there's an opening, not in January per se, but something to be addressed next summer for what we do going forward with left back, because we protected Simicast's value by giving him that new contract. So he's not running down the end of a contract. We should more than get our money back that we paid for him. We paid for Simicast 13 million, 14
Yeah,
million,
somewhere
something
around
like
there,
that.
12 million, yeah.
I think that might be more the way to go with it. And that should give a massive boost to Chambers and Beck of going, that if you show, look at Trent, look at Kwanzaa, if you prove in the academy and in training and you go out on loan, you'll get the job. You'll
Yeah.
get the backup job. And then you can win that starter's job. Like what Kwanzaa said about Matip after he got injured. Basically, I'm here to bury this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I want his job.
Yeah.
We're going to need that sort of attitude in a young left back, because Andy Robertson ain't going to be there forever. And if we have to replace one of the two, Simicast or Robertson, well, I know which Greek is being shown the door every single time. So, yeah, hopefully it spurs us on. But I don't think it's an issue for January, more so because of how well Joe Gomez has done.
So, the way I'm thinking it is, right, Joe Gomez has been a bit of a revelation at left back over the last couple of games, to be fair. He was absolutely outstanding. He didn't put a foot wrong for me against Newcastle, right? And Robertson comes back, right? He might, like Kev said there, my only fear is Robbo is playing, coming back. They tend to pick up knocks, so Beck might be staying put. They may do that. They may turn around, and this brings us on to the centre half stuff, right? And we've seen Inacio being linked from Sporting Lisbon. We haven't seen really anything else. There's been a few spoofers online telling you that Inacio's literally sitting at John Lennon Airport waiting for the phone call to head down to the AXA. But that's the only kind of tenuous link at the minute, right? And this brings us on to it because, forget everything for a minute. Just forget everything that's going on for a minute, Matt, right? Your opinion. Joe Matip is out. Won't play again for Liverpool this season. Probably won't play for Liverpool again, right? Unless they give him an extension. And even with an extension, you're probably looking at 3 months into next season and he's still be fucking out, right? But all things considered, would you sign a centre half in January?
Yeah, I think you have to. I can remember back to doing shows the last time the window was open, and there were some people, I believe you might have been one of them, that thought we probably needed some defensive cover at the end of the window and hoped that we could get one more deal in, as unlikely as it obviously was going to be. And I'm pretty sure I'm on record, who goes back and listens to old shows, of saying, if we don't sign a defender, we are going to need very good luck with injuries. And up until Matip got hurt, it was looking brilliant. Matip was staying fit. Konate had picked up a little niggle, but Gomez was fit, ready to go. The left backs were all still healthy. And then all of a sudden you go bang, 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 and you lose three of them. But one of them being that center half. I just think you have to. Who the hell it's going to be, I don't know. The thing about Inacio that really kind of throws me is that he was rumored to be available in the summer when we still had an identifiable need for a player that he fills the box. Yeah, he ticks the boxes of.
Kevin Ball says the same as you here. Yeah.
Why didn't we go for him in the summer? I'm pretty sure I remember reading articles of there's another week and then his contract bumps up that release clause from 40 to 60. And it's if I can read that, obviously somebody in the club has read that and would know about that, or know agents and actually know what's going on. Why didn't we go for him in the summer? Even if you buy him and loan him back.
Yeah, but you see, right, I should have thrown in the caveat at the start that Jurgen Klopp, right? What's going to happen here is, right, put money on it. What's going to happen here is that Liverpool may not sign a player in the January. Jurgen Klopp around the 29th, 30th or 31st of January is going to get bombarded around a pre-game press conference around signing players, and he's going to go, listen, we can't go out and sign all these boom, 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 and then it's going to be FSG are out, right? FSG out, because that's how the world works, right? It all depends on how you can actually, mentally fucking step away from the nonsense, right? Kevin Ball said, we wanted in that show, we'd have paid 40 million release clause in the summer before he signed the new contract with the higher clause, right? I completely get that. But you have to remember, if he's staying with Joe Matip, he likes to look at Kwanzaa, he has Van Dijk, he has Gomez, he has Konate, right? Liverpool as a football club are not bringing in another centre-back for 40 million quid on another load of money. They have to pay all these players. And I hate to say it to people, but that's the truth. The amount of bodies you have and the amount of money they pay, the way Liverpool work is, that doesn't fit. So you have to get rid of one, right? We're not going in with 6 centre-halves. Simple as that. We're simply not. right? We are going in with Van Dijk, Gomez, Kanate, Matip, Kwanzaa. 5. He's not doing 6 unless he's letting one go. And they clearly weren't letting Joe Matip go because a year left on his deal. They could have sold him and they didn't, right? Now, that's a release clause anyway, 60 million. If you go in there and you say, listen, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 40, rising to 55, depending on this, and the player wants to go, you'll get him, right? You will get him. The 60 million is just out there, and I'll pay it and you get him and all this sort of stuff. But Klopp, on the other hand, has said that in the same kind of breath as he was saying, I won't sign another one unless I get another injury, did say, how many top players can you get out of their club in January if you want them? It's very, very difficult to do, right? Which makes me think that Kev might have a point with Owen Beck, where you turn around to Owen Beck and go, listen, no, sorry, you're here for the rest of the season because we have Joe Gomez. Robertson's going to come back, but we have to keep an eye on something there. But we also need Joe Gomez to go back in now and cover the centre half if needed. But it gives us the option to play Joe Gomez a left back anytime we want. If Robertson is kind of, you're nursing him back in, if you have a cup game and you want to put Beck on the bench and give him 20, I think I would sign a centre half because I don't think we'll extend Matip. Simple as that, right? But I don't think we will. I don't think there's one out there that, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm not too sure there's one out there that we can get that we want. Because I think that there was so much like intense fucking madness in the summer going, sign a left-sided centre-half, and I was like, Virgil van Dijk plays left-sided centre-half. No, sign a left-sided centre-half, he can play left-back, and I'm like, mate, we have a left-back. Why is everyone fucking thinking we play 3 at the back? We don't. We play.
I tried to convince them, but they wouldn't listen.
We play 4 at the back. We have never, ever, right, put a left back or a centre back at left back, right? The only reason Joe Gomez is playing there now is because the 2 left backs are injured. I promise you, if the 2 left backs were fit, Joe Gomez would never start at left back for Liverpool. So all this stuff is fucking madness. The big decision in the centre half thing is, do you sign a left-sided centre-half, future-proofing for Van Dijk 2-3 years down the line, and getting a player to come in of a certain quality that you think is going to be as good as or able to, take over from Virgil van Dijk is difficult, because if he's that fucking good, he doesn't want to be sitting on Liverpool's bench or playing 20 to 25 games a season. He wants to be playing 50 games a season in big competitions, i.e. Levi Colwill maybe, right? Something along them lines. They know they're going to get more games elsewhere. I think he doesn't, Simon. I genuinely think he doesn't, Simon. I think he does a bit of a job here where Gomez covers with Beck in the background. Robertson comes back in. Beck remains in the background if needed. Gomez goes back in at centre half, but he's also used at left back if you need to go and look after Andy Robertson. That's where I am on it. I probably would Simon. Yeah. I think he'll definitely Simon in the summer. But I think the summer, Matt, is a weird one as well, because what sort of centre half do you go for? Because do you still see Joe Gomez as a cover? Do you still see Kanate as your number 1 beside Van Dijk? Where does Kwanzaa now rank? And if you're bringing in a centre half, how are you selling this to them? Because the money you're going to spend in the centre half, they'll want to play. And that means if they want to play, they're probably going to have to be a right-sided centre half. And now you're looking going, the biggest winner in it all will maybe be Kwanzaa, who goes and says, I'll be deputy left side, and I get quite a few games if you want to rest Van Dijk. I don't think he does one. I think I would.
No, I mean, obviously the smart money is we don't do anything in January. Though our recent history is actually pretty well littered with surprise January signings. That's the big question for me, and it was in the summer as well. What you just said right there of like, how do you sell that to him? Of being like, we need to go out and we need to sign these players. Like, if your path is blocked, and I mean, we're going to come on to it as well when we get into the midfield chat as well too. There's also nobody that really jumps out to me. So I pretty much exclusively just watch the Premier League and then the European competitions. I don't have enough time to be watching the Italian league and the Spanish league and the Portuguese league sort of thing. So I can't speak about Antonio Silva or Gonzalo Inacio. These are just names that I've heard mentioned with rumors and stuff like that. Out of the players that I've seen in the Premier League, in terms of players that just kind of jump out at me, really the only one, and Bracky mentioned it up few comments ago, he's really throwing them in quick tonight, is if the FFP crunch comes down on the F again, I would be all over
Branthwaite.
a bid for Branthwaite.
Yeah.
He's really stood out. He's taken that mantle that I felt that Nathan Collins had 2 years ago when he was at Wolves, where he was just kind of breaking into the team, taking over for some older, slower players, and he looked like a breath of fresh air, and he looked like he was going to grow into be this giant unit of a player, and then he's kind of fallen off a fair bit from there, which is unfortunate. And it's Branthwaite is the one, and if Everton are motivated sellers because the Premier League is coming with their accounts going, got a pretty big hole here, boys. You need 50 million pounds, or you're going to be docking another set of points.
The talk is that Forest are in a bit of a sticky situation. It looks like, right? They're waiting to hear on the outcome of something, apparently. So if they're waiting to hear the outcome, it means that they have to be in charged, and they've had this fucking hearing, or they're waiting to hear the outcome of the FA are looking into this. We'll know if we're going to be charged. The talk is that it's not Everton. Like, there was talk of always second thing happening for Everton. The talk is that that's not true. But Branthwaite, I'd put money on Branthwaite playing his football in Manchester next season. That's where I put it. I think United or City or either of them. So that would be my opinion on it. I think he's being really, really good. I like everything about him. He's really good on the ball. He has a turn of pace. He's not afraid to go into a tackle. He's good in the air. He reads the game well. He doesn't seem to get flustered by anything. But even at that, Branthwaite's looking going, all right, like switching from Everton to Liverpool is a big jump, in this, I suppose the amount of games you're going to win and stuff like that. But against that, is Branthwaite going to turn around and go, I'm playing every week at Everton here. If I go to Liverpool, I can only play left side. Virgil van Dijk plays left side. Whereas if I go to Manchester United, I can fucking take your pick. Do you know what I mean? They're all fucking shy. Do you know what I mean?
The butcher.
Yeah. So I'd actually, and thinking of it, I'd actually make Manchester United massive favourites to sign Branthwaite. That's being
that'll make him probably an 80 or 90 million centre half then. If those two clubs that don't know how to spend money properly are sniffing around. Yeah. Here's something I just thought of though. If Forest are the ones that have the FFP issues and could be motivated sellers, and they do have a bloated squad as well, do you dip into the left back market, get a proven winner in Montiel off of Forest, and then just tell Gomez your center half right back cover? Ease that pressure on Gomez and try to wrap him in a little bit of cotton wool by managing his minutes better while also reinforcing at the left back position.
You see, I think I'm not against what you've said earlier with regards to kind of future-proof from a left back, and Tsimikas probably isn't the future-proof option. I don't think he hasn't done badly at all with Liverpool stepping in. But as you said, he's 27 years of age. I don't know what age Andy Robertson is.
29.
29. So there's not a hell of a lot of difference in there. Do you know what I mean? There's a season or two difference in them, right? Quality-wise, I think there is a difference. But that's for another day's argument, right? I'm with you on the future-proofing of it. I just think this season with the left back, he's going to do a little bit of a diddle. That's being honest. I think he's going to do a bit of a diddle where he's going, Gomez is working fine, definite option. Beck is back, fine. I'll use him if I really have to, right? Robertson will be back, and I'm covering all my bases there. Like you could look at Joe Gomez and say you can go right back, you can go left back, you can go centre back. I'll use the other, and I have the other three centre halves. Now you are relying then on them all to stay fit, which is a worry. But I'm sure, like, we're all sitting here and we're kind of throwing odd names out here. If they are looking at that, they will be looking at it for a while. So it might be a bit of a surprise when you've seen the likes of Robinson off Fulham being linked, but he signed a new deal in the summer. Ait Nouri off Wolves, who's in and out of the Wolves side, but has always impressed me every time I've seen him. I'm not too sure what age he is. I presume he's probably 22, 23. But I just think right now, with the squad he has, the way they're going, and I'm not ever against signing the player. I'm never against it. But just the way
it makes so much content.
But the way things are going, I just think they'll leave as they are at the back. Unless, of course, a target that they have, for some reason, comes available and they go, you know what, bang, We're putting him in. We're going to do a Luis Diaz on him. We're going to give him 6 months, and we're going to let him play, and we'll have him there for next season. He's Matip's replacement, and we're back into this player, our 3 centre halves, and Kwanzaa. You know what I mean? And that's where we are.
Good shout there from Ashley L. Actually, Gav.
Max Kilman is English, plays centre back and left back. He's the one I take from Wolves. Kilman's been really good for Wolves. Wolves have been quite impressive anytime I've seen them, to be fair. Bar, I watched them in the 3 o'clock away at Luton and they were desperate. But, you know, they've been really good. Gary O'Neill's done a really good job there, despite being literally robbed every fucking second week by the VGMOL. In midfield, you know, I think we've plenty of bodies in midfield. I think when you look through it, I think Endo's really finding his feet. I think Elliot has just been fantastic off the bench. I think Jones has grown game on game, and I think he was excellent again the other night. You look at McAllister coming back, and he showed what he can do when he come on. Gravenberch, I don't expect to see the best of Gravenberch till probably late this season and the start of next season when he's fully up to speed, both physically and kind of tactically with Liverpool. But I think he's a fantastic player. Szoboszlai was great. He's dropped off a little bit. Absolutely fine with that. No problem. Give him a little break for a couple of weeks and I'd expect him to come back. But I would go and sign Andre.
That a boy.
I would go and sign Andre, and I'll tell you why. Thiago, I don't know if he'll play with Liverpool again. Like, he's literally out. We must be approaching 9 months. He's out. Hasn't played a game for Liverpool. Right? He's out of contract in the summer. We may get him back for the last 10 games of the season. But then you're down a body, and I think there's a big glaring opportunity in January if you want that player to go and get him. Now, I'm only going off the rumours of the summer, which seem fairly solid from solid people that would just, you know, are journalists that would tell you as it is. And his name was absolutely in the hat. I would go and do him. And what I would do is I would say, look, we're stocked in midfield. If we get Thiago back, and that means Andre has to sit and kick his heels and have a rest after a mad season in Brazil, fine. But he's there, he's available for us, and we know going into next season Thiago won't be here, and he's a really, really decent younger replacement. Are you all right with midfield? And I know we're kind of previewing a squad here, but it's probably the best way to do it before we go into more of these transfer things throughout the month.
Yeah, you have to, especially to get started, first transfer show of the window, you have to kind of get a feel for the big picture, because you don't just want to be saying, you know, we need to be signing X and X players. And when you start looking at it being like, well, you've got a full squad, like, you don't want to have to be building a second addition onto the change room to fit all your players in Chelsea style. I really like the look of Andre. I like the hype around him in the summer. I watched a couple of the Copa Libertadores matches. Didn't have the best final, but in some of the matches leading up to the final, in quarterfinal, the one game against, I don't know, Team Paraguay, I think it was that they played. I just thought he was phenomenal. And watching how he played in that goofy system that Denise has Flamengo playing, and then watching how we play, and especially how Endo's been playing in this last little run of matches where Endo's been getting the start at the 6, where you're seeing him drop and kind of split the center halves. Because, you know, the center halves are already moving out a little bit wider when we get that width, or when Trent inverts into the middle, especially Konate's pushing out that little bit. And you're seeing Endo drop into that slot a little bit more because he's got a really good defensive head about him. I mean, the number of people, if you went back through the chats on our transfer shows and other channels shows after we signed Endo, the number of people that got to be eating their fucking shorts right now for just completely writing him off, because he's been better than I thought he would be, and I thought he would be fine. So that's all happy days. But to me, Andre, having watched, say, maybe 5-6 full 90s of him play, seems like he's got better defensive attributes than McAllister and better offensive attributes than Endo. I don't even think it's a question that he has better offensive attributes than Endo. Like, you look at his numbers from the Brazilian league. Yeah, it's just the Brazilian league, but a guy can only play where a guy plays. You know, he can't rack up numbers in the Premier League playing in the Brazilian league, so you have to take it for what it is. His passing numbers are phenomenal. It's progressive passing, long passing, stuff like that. Extremely accurate with the ball at his feet. So he's a much better passer. Maybe not as good as McAllister, maybe on a par with McAllister, but he's the natural 6, whereas McAllister isn't. And that was kind of some people's concerns in the summer of going in without that natural 6.
One I haven't mentioned is Stefan Bajcetic. And when I look around, like, to be fair, right? If you take, even if forget Thiago and Andre for a minute, if you bring Bajcetic into this squad now, you're leaving. One, is he struggling to get in because of the amount of bodies and quality we have there, or if he does get in, you're leaving a fairly big player out now. You know, you'd be leaving a fairly big player out, because I think Jones is a big player for us. I think the easiest one to probably leave out is probably Elliott, but Elliott's been brilliant. Like, we have a lot of numbers in there, and do you know what? Every time I go to name our midfielders, I forget one, right? But if I look at it, I go Endo, McAllister, that's 2. Elliott, Jones is 4. Yeah, you've got Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, that's 6. Who am I missing?
Thiago.
But Thiago Bajcetic makes 8. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I think the easiest thing to do here is to look and go, right, if Thiago's going, you're bringing one body in. And that's fine, because Liverpool walk in that way. One goes out, one goes in. That's our numbers in midfield. We're going with 8 and we'll move them around, blah, 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 blah. I just think, like, you know, you could look at different players. Like, some people mentioned Douglas Luiz there. You know, go and get him. He'll cost you a fucking arm and a leg now, because he's been phenomenal for Villa. And I did say at the start of this season, that's who I would have went in and got, Douglas Luiz. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's so cool on the ball. He likes the ball to his feet with his back to, you know, with facing his own goal. He's being brilliant. But like Jerry says there, Bajcetic fit will be an £80 million player by Benfica, and he'd be the one we all want. I'm not saying for a second Bajcetic can't come in and absolutely put himself in this team as an 8 or a 6, you know, but if we want a 6 that absolutely, like, just destroys people, do you know what I mean, and make sure that nothing gets by us and protects us, Bajcetic is being decent at that at times, but other times you see him further forward in that 8, and he's a good ball carrier. He's an eye for a pass. I just think my whole thing around this is it all focuses on Thiago, and the fact that Thiago won't be at Liverpool next season means you're going to have to bring someone in. And if that one is like Kevin Ball's there, you know, I think we've moved on from him, from Andre. Maybe we have, but if we haven't, at the price you're talking, which is probably £30 million, it's a no-brainer to bring him in. Absolute no-brainer. It's another South American, I know, but that means then that the likes of Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, they have these players. There's a few more of them. Do you know the sort of way that are together? Like, you know, you kind of have that Dutch thing going on with Gravenberch and Gakpo and Van Dijk,
and they don't fuck off for a month in the middle of the season, you know.
Yeah, so
I'm all for all South Americans. I'm fine with that.
People are asked about the Bajcetic injury. Bajcetic got this injury last year, last season, and it looks like he's big because he did play in pre-season. I think he actually plays in one of the Europa League games at the start of the campaign.
He plays right back, I think, in the first game in Lask, I think.
Yeah. Some members have given us a thumbs down.
With notes.
What member has given us a thumbs down here? Jesus Christ. That's not good.
Did Red Steve finally get his membership?
Yeah, maybe so. But I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying, for me, in midfield, there's a decision to make here. One, do you go as is, and you're just, Thiago's not being there, am I used to it? 2, is Thiago coming back and you'll see him for the last 15, 20 games of the season? I'm not too sure. Or 3, do we just go, listen, he's not playing, but we're going to bring someone in. We're basically we're going to show our summer update of our midfield in January. That's what we're going to
right
do.
Now. I think it's number 3. And I said this to, I think it was definitely Bracky. I don't know if Kev was on after we finished a show like 2-3 months ago. And I just said, I don't think Thiago ever plays for us again. I just think he's done. I think the club's going to let him get back to fitness. He runs his contract out, and at the end of the summer, you just move on. And if that's the case, if you can bring in a player, it's this vaunted thing that people have been saying when we talk about the defenders. If you can bring forward your summer plans, the summer plan is going to include, in some point, replacing Thiago.
Yeah.
And if you can bring that forward, Andre might not play. It might take him, and this is something that that Kev O'Sullivan was saying
Is
in the
the
chat.
Brazilian league is over now? Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, it's just finished, and so I think they've got that this would be their summer, so it's the height of summer down there. So
Okay.
it's basically the same, but just reversed
So
around because on the opposite sides of the world.
back in February, is it?
Yeah, end of February, start of March, something like that, I would
Right.
imagine. So yeah,
So
they get their 2 months off.
could there be an argument to turn around and go, listen, we've agreed a day with Andre, he'll be joining Liverpool on the 1st of July?
No, I think you just bring him in now. I think you just fast forward his preseason now. You don't register Thiago for either of the squads, and you register Andre. Hell, I'm okay if you sweeten the deal by just saying you can have his kit number. Like you can wear 36 or 46 currently, and then next year we'll just drop the first digit. You get Thiago's shirt, and you bring him in and you get him up to speed. And then if you find that you need him, if we need to activate him, like how we used Jones coming down the stretch last season, or how Bajcetic came in and was pivotal for that 8-10 game run that he had in the middle of last season. If we need him there, he's there. But if we don't have to use him because, like you said, we've got Endo who can play there. We know that McAllister can play there. So it's not forcing it to happen. It's just Thiago has been absolutely lovely to watch. He will have a clip that is in Liverpool highlight packs forever with that goal against Porto because it is such a beautiful thing to see. But I have just moved on. I have just moved on, very much kind of like how I am, unfortunately, to group them together with Nat Phillips and Reese Williams. Of just out of sight, out of mind. And if he comes back, that's fantastic because he's shown that. I mean, we got some cup semifinals coming up, and if I remember correctly, he was quite good in. I think it was what, a semifinal or a quarterfinal against Manchester City. That wouldn't be a bad thing to have, but I I think that Andre can be that player, and then you going forward because you said like where do you find the minutes for these players to play? I think going forward, you just look at it, maybe not, definitely not next summer, but at the end of, what would that be, 24-25 season, you take a look at your midfielders and you just go, one of you is getting sold. Whether
Yeah.
that's Gravenberch and you make a good profit on him, or I think most likely candidate will be McAllister because he's the older one out of the group. We got him for an absolute pittance in 2-3 seasons. We'll be able to sell him, almost certainly make a tidy profit on him. Hopefully he's got some silverware with himself, and that's fantastic. You can sell him to Real Madrid or Barcelona or something like that. Like, I think that's what you can do. 8 good, solid pros, all in kind of a 6-8 year age bracket. Eventually Endo probably 1-2 years tops at the team, and then there's another spot there ready to go. And just let them fight it out for it. Just by Chet, your job is now to come in and take that shirt from Andre.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like, you would expect, people are saying that would be the middle of the Brazilian season if we done the whole thing where he joins on the 4th of July. I don't give a fuck when the Brazilian season's on. If we do a deal with Andre now and he's signing for Liverpool on July the 1st, I don't care. He just comes and signs. He plays for us. You look at Jerry says, I think we've enough without Thiago in midfield, but the one skill set we're missing is an older style 6, a la this friend up at Genoa, just for something different. But we seem to be going away from that old style 6, as you would call it. Well, but Endo's come in and being that old style 6, he's been really fucking good at it. Do you know the sort of way? I just think it's in midfield. That's my only thing that I think can see happen in midfield. If they are moved past Andre, I can't see anything happening in midfield. I think you'll see the summer come on, Thiago leave, and then we go for something else. Yeah. If they aren't gone past Andre, now is the time to do it. But the next 7 or 8 days, it'll tell us what's going on there. Final thing on Liverpool before we just quickly look around the rest of the league. Carvalho's back from Leipzig, and there's an awful lot written about Fabio Carvalho. There's an awful lot written about him. Is he good enough? Is he this? Is he that? Has he an attitude? Nobody fucking knows what his attitude is, but people seem to think they know what his attitude is. My take on it is that I think he comes to Liverpool. I think he's a promising enough start. I'm not too sure if he gets what we're trying to do. I think Klopp decides, right, we need to keep him playing football. He goes to Leipzig. It doesn't work. He's coming back. There's talk now that there's a bleeding mountain of teams looking to take him on loan. Do you see him going out on another loan 6 months, but probably staying in England this time?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a very good sign that there's a queue of clubs that would be happy to have Fabio Carvalho on loan. It
Leicester
shows you that
strongly
there's
linked.
yeah, that's and I mean they're cruising at the top of the championship right now. So it's not like they're in desperate need for some injection. So obviously there's multiple scouting groups that are looking at this kid and saying there's definitely a player there. The thing about his attitude that I just love because it's very Liverpool is that there's some rumors that it was maybe that text message that he sent to the Portuguese coach and tell him that he didn't want to play anymore but that's it. You know, it's the almost polar opposite of how, let's say, Eric Ten Hag has handled the Jadon Sancho situation. Of there's been nothing from the club throwing the kid under the bus or anything like that. It seems like it's being kept in house. He doesn't seem to be kicking up a huge fuss. You know, it looked like his nose was maybe a little out of joint towards the end of last season when his spot in the team pretty much evaporated. But it seems like it's being handled in a very Liverpool, no dickheads policy way. And maybe another loan next season. It's tough to see. I mean, if you have trouble seeing where an Andre would fit into our squad, I have a real tough time seeing where a Fabio Carvalho fits into our team now.
Yeah, that's
if there's a position he's playing, I would rather Harvey Elliott play those minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, somebody says it there. Emma says Southampton, Leicester and Fulham. I can't see him going back to Fulham. I don't think it'd be the best move for him going back to Fulham. Leicester, like you said, are cruising. The Southampton one is interesting though because they're really motoring in the Championship now, and I think the style of football
Starting
they're playing.
In Ipswich.
Yeah, I think that might be an interesting one. I think with Owen Burke says Klopp went in twice to sign Carvalho, so obviously really wanted him and rates him. I don't think for a second he doesn't rate him. And there was a couple of Instagram things and stuff, and people were making an awful lot over. This is a kid. He's a fucking kid. He's a child. Do you know what I mean? But I get your point where you struggle to see him, you know, coming into a Liverpool side, because the only real place I see him playing for Liverpool is off the left hand side. You know, for maybe replacing the likes of a Luis Diaz or coming on for Luis Diaz, but it's not an easy position to play for Liverpool because you're involved in the initial press. Then you have to be back in position. Then you have to be ready to go the other way. Then you have to look to link with your fullback. There's an awful lot going on that left hand side. It's not like some left hand side players are just like when you get the ball, run to the end line and cross it, or you know, don't come back or listen, always be back because that's the way we play. There's an awful lot involved in playing left, right for Liverpool. There really, really is. But I get your point on where you struggle, where you can see him struggling getting into the side. But having said that, a year ago a lot of people struggled to see where Harvey Elliott would get into Liverpool side, because of the way we're playing. And you look at him now and he comes on and you go off the right, brilliant against West Ham, wasn't it? In the cup, absolutely amazing. Coming on and he's playing in this, you know, right sided eight, really, really good and getting better all the time. I think Carvalho's probably a year or two behind Elliott's development, even though they're probably around the same age. But I think he's probably a year or two behind Elliott in regards to development as a footballer for Liverpool. You know, the sort of way. Elliott's had an awful lot more time there. I'm very interested to see where it goes with Carvalho, possibly more in the summer. But right now, I think if he comes back, Liverpool find a club from in the Championship that are doing quite well. I think it might be a good move for him. Just to get him into a team that's playing winning games and, you know, get a bit of confidence back into him. But I'd be nearly saying to the club that he's going to, he plays nowhere else but this position, and he has to play X amount of games. And if you don't fulfill that in the first month, we're taking him back. We're not giving you 3-4 months to fulfill this quota. Yeah. You need to be doing it. And Liverpool are in that position where they can. Kind of demand that. Jerry feels that Carvalho
is a year older.
Yeah, but I still think he's behind this development of Liverpool for Harvey Elliott. Carvalho now is an example of why we should know when to cut our losses, include a buyback or sell-on clause, but use his 10-15 million value now to our benefit. He might never be worth more, says Jerry. Yeah, that's a fair point as well, and that's probably why I'm interested in what will happen in the summer. Look, we're going to do more of these shows, like I said. We're probably going to do 2 a week throughout this month if we can. One will be a member show, one will probably be free. We hope you're enjoying the membership stuff. Hoping to be back in the morning at 10 o'clock for random stuff. We won't be on tomorrow night. I promise you that we won't be on tomorrow night. We will be back around for the game at the weekend. Arsenal in the Cup. Yeah.
Double barrel Sunday.
Yeah, Graham Porter, Man United is trending on Twitter, says Ashley L. Wow. And they're also looking at Choupo-Moting and Werner.
Thomas Muller?
Or Thomas Muller I've seen linked as well. Mad stuff. But do you know something? Kev said something to me earlier and he said, look, the amount of spending that's gone on in the last little while is starting probably to come back to bite teams. We could go around the league now and we could start looking at, who needs this, who needs that, and there could be a long list of players, what do Arsenal need? Possibly a goal scorer. What do City need? Do they probably need a bit more in midfield, depending on De Bruyne coming back? What do Spurs need? We could do all that, but our team's a little bit hampered with regards to their previous spending as to what they can do now, i.e. Manchester United, as well. Or are we making too much of this? If they want to sign a player, they'll just go and sign him. That's how it works.
I mean, I think Bowley might be the one to find a new financial lever to pull to free up more money somehow. But you look at Man United in the summer and having to loan Sofiane Amrabat when his transfer fee was an endo amount, which you should have just lying in the back of
Do they have an obligation to buy him, though, in the summer?
I hope so. They'd be luckier if they had an obligation to buy his brother with how poor he's been for Man United. But it seems they don't have a ton of money. Arsenal had the same thing with Raya, where they have to do this weird loan deal. Why are you loaning a number one goalkeeper? It doesn't make it's just a strange thing to do, and it really feels like it's coming down to the FFP thing. Maybe this is just my optimism spilling over from predicting ridiculous Liverpool scoreline wins to the league actually growing a pair when it comes to this, because you see Everton get done, you start hearing about other teams, Wolves, Forest, Chelsea coming back up again. Man City got the 115 still hanging over their heads. Yeah. The independent regulator sitting there. Maybe, just maybe, the people running the Premier League have decided that this is it. This is the Rubicon, and they cannot be allowed to cross.
Well, you see, the thing is, when you charge Everton, and without getting into the whole thing, but when you charge Everton, it means then that you charge Everton with one charge or whatever it was, right? It means then that Everton and other clubs are going to demand that you are meticulous in what you're doing with other clubs now. You can't charge Everton and go, great job, lads. Listen, let's see us here same time next year and we see if we can catch someone else. It now really pumps the pressure on other clubs, and that's why I think the Forest stuff's come up. Wolves, like Paul Giovanni says, Arsenal can't buy anyone until they sell someone due to FFP. He's heard that Smith Rowe was available. Partey might go, but Partey's gone away. He's gone away to the. I think he's gone away to the.
Gallagher rumored to be.
Gallagher rumored to go to Spurs as well. Yeah, because he'd be pure profit. And you know what I mean. Emma says there, Arsenal have to sell the boy. They're looking at loaning players. Amrabat is a €10 million deal. Ashley says Amrabat is a €10 million loan deal with an option to buy in June 2024 worth €20 million plus €5 million add-ons. They won't be taking that. Not a hope. They won't be fucking taking it. You better be a rocker. He's been absolutely abysmal for Manchester United. But maybe,
as he would have been for probably everybody.
Yeah, maybe. Talk also that West Ham had to ask for the Rice money from the bank early, as payment from Arsenal isn't due until next year. Oh, so that means that West Ham. Would that mean that West Ham are in a bit of an awkward position? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Paul? But look, maybe the spending in this January, Kev reckons it's a bit of a buyer's market. Because of simply because of the way things are, and clubs are looking to get rid of a couple of players, but maybe they're looking to get rid of player A and you go in and go, forget player A, but I'll take player B, and would you be interested in players? Clubs might be forced into doing a little bit like that. It's going to be an interesting month. I don't think it's going to be a mad kind of fire sale month. I think a lot of teams might just have to go with what they have, whether that's by choice or design or just their own.
Except one, Gav. I think Newcastle will go bonkers. I think so? I can see Newcastle bringing in 4 or 5 players.
Okay. They may do.
Because
But
they've got the money to spend, and I believe they've got the wiggle room within the FFP because of the new
well, they have
owner
the wiggle. They
grace
did have
period
the
you
wiggle.
get.
They did last season. But now that they went into the European competition, they're under a second set of FFP now. You have to remember that. Yeah. So they have to watch themselves now if they want to get back into Europe. And that's what happens. And maybe that comment with regards to West Ham, maybe that's playing on that as well. Because West Ham going into European competition and winning European competition means that you have a second set of kind of FFP laws, and they're different to the ones in England, of course, that you have to go through. Let me see. Think the last week of the month could be busy. Newcastle haven't got a sausage. Yeah, I think it could be. Talk of is Newcastle's FFP is a lot tighter, maybe because of the European stuff. That's what I think.
Yeah,
think
I
we're
thought there
finding
was
the
that
English.
grace period, but yeah, that would just be for England then, and then the
Yeah,
UEFA
once you're in
rules.
Europe, you're judged on a 3-year
Like an
basis.
anti-Chelsea, how Chelsea got lucky this year that they weren't in the Champions League, so they could still sign those ridiculous 27-year contracts.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, like, I think it'll be a quiet enough month, but I think you may see a couple of panic things. But the ones that look to panic are the ones that are, for me, are in a position where can you do anything? You know, there's talk of, oh, your man's taking over United, he's putting in this amount, and he's going to put in 300 million to spend as well. Where are you getting this from? Do you know what I mean? And it's not even his fucking money he's spending. It's a consortium he heads up, really, when you think about it. But look, I'm not going into all that. It's 5 to 11 at night. I've loads of stuff to be doing. Anyway, that has been the transfer show from Talkin Kop. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did. I loved that chat for an hour or so. Like I said, back in the morning, we'll have a little random chat in the morning.
Here's one for you in the morning, Gav. Well, while Mo's gone, would you try Darwin Núñez on the right side of attack?
No, I would try Luis Diaz on the right side of attack. And I would argue to maybe even try Szoboszlai over there and give him a little stint out of centre midfield just to get him back up the top end of the pitch as much as I could. Jerry says, thanks very much, lads. Great chat. If you had 50 or 60 million, hypothetically, who would you sign within reason?
Branthwaite. I think you get him out of Everton for 60 million.
Oh, I would take, for the crack, what's the winger's name? I think he's up in PSV, linked with a move to...
I should know. It's going to be up here in the chat as soon as it catches up with us.
Can't remember his name. But that lad that people...
Bakayoko, maybe?
Yeah, people seem to think he's lethal. I haven't seen him, but I'll go in and I'll do that. I just... Yeah, why not? You know,
sure. Another left winger.
Centre halves don't fucking do anything for me. I want someone that's going to run at the goal and kick it hard. Bakayoko, says Jerry. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. Have a few quid on him.
Games.
Diaz right, Jota central, Darwin left, and on Pence with his 100% record from the spots, says Anthony Boylan. Darwin Núñez takes okay penalties. But anyway, that's it. We're gone. Hope you enjoyed it. This will be available for download tomorrow morning, and we will be back in the morning, and then we'll be back for, I would say the next time we're back is probably the reaction to Arsenal on Sunday, and then the Sunday night show will be back, and we'll have we'll have all sorts of stuff going on then on Sunday night as we try fill up these gaps between games just turning up on random days, and Liverpool meant to be on a break and they're not, and it's all going on. Before we go, our 2024 fundraiser link is in the description. It's up on the screen. If you're listening later on, the link is in the description for your podcast. Go into the description, hold over the link. It will copy it. You can paste it into your browser, and you can donate to the Lighthouse in Dublin or fan supporting food banks in Liverpool. 10 grand is our target. We launched it today. We got a couple of donations today, which is absolutely fantastic. I am begging people, if you can donate, please do. If you can't, please just take the link, put it to your friends in WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, your mates, your friends, your family, everyone you can think of. Throw it in there, because look, everyone has a story about people that are struggling with, struggling to put food on the table, struggling with homelessness, whatever it might be. please, please, please donate if you can. And if you can't, please share it. It's 10 grand. Between us all, we can do this. We can do this handy. I'm starting the golf day, planning from tomorrow morning. I'm going to have a meeting about it tomorrow morning. So please, please, please help us out. Link is in the description. Donate if you can. If not, just copy it onto your phone. Go into all your different groups, onto your social media. You're all on fucking Twitter. I know you are. Because you all seem to know everything that goes on Twitter. But none of you, well, you're not. I know you're not, man. But I see you all telling me all about Twitter, and then I don't see you on fucking Twitter because you're hiding somewhere. I want you to go onto Twitter. I want you to paste the link into Twitter and go, listen, donate, good cause 2024. Do that on your Twitter, do it on your Instagram, do it on your Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, fair enough, throw it in there as well, and we get to this 10 grand. We're going to do our absolute best to get to it. No, we're not. We're just going to go and get to it. But we're going to do our best to make sure it's done by the middle of June. So that's where we are on that. Points. And pod night out after the charity drive, says Brian. And he says, I'm not on Twitter. I refuse to believe that, Brian, because most of your information comes from Twitter. And I know you're there.
Oh, he's too young for Twitter. He's
too
on
young
TikTok
for Twitter. So. Go away. What are you on?
Yeah.
He's probably on MySpace on a Nokia
barn,
3210. Fuck off, annoy me, Brian. Anyway, that's it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.